Welcome back, family and friends, gamers, and cat lovers. As you can see by the thumbnail, we're here talking about a different game, The Last of Us. And I know, I am super late to this party. And that's because I've pretty much been at the Monster Hunter party the last so many years. And to be honest, I'll probably still be at that party. So how did we come across The Last of Us? Well, Rika and I had decided to dedicate one night a week to a movie or a different game. So again, how did we come across The Last of Us? Well, my coworker had talked this game up and let me borrow it. And what about the movie we picked? Well, that was the Alien series. And when we finish watching all of those, I'm going to play through Alien Isolation. So stay tuned for a video about that. But for now, we're going to share our thoughts on our experience with The Last of Us. And while I don't intend to spoil the story, I probably will spoil some of the gameplay aspects. But most of my thoughts are about something I wanted outside of the game, or wondering why they weren't in the game.
And I will be spoiling parts of the story, so if you haven't played the game and want to experience it yourself first, skip my part and go to Rodney's. We will put a timestamp on the screen.
So with that said, let's take a look at the game.
First of all, I like games which have good stories. I can just watch Rodney play and enjoy the story. So far, my favorite games to watch are Metal Gear and Gears of War. So when I heard The Last of Us had a good story, I said, okay, we can try this game. But when he started playing this game, I was not too impressed. I thought the storyline was too predictable, like I knew who was going to die or what was going to happen next. I even couldn't find a favorite character. But as the story progressed, it got more exciting. Especially for me, it was very interesting to see how Joel was changing. At first, he even didn't want to have anything to do with Ellie, but he gradually started to have emotions and feelings again, and it amazed me to see how he was dedicated to keep her safe, and also how much love and consideration he had for her. That definitely made me supportive of him. What I wanted was just two of them survive and have a happy ending. Speaking of the ending, the last scene of The Last of Us made me really think the way to interpret the meaning of the title of this game. When I first saw the title, I thought it meant they were the last of humans who survived. But after seeing Ellie's face saying okay to Joel's lie at the end, really made me think that meant the last moment of him and her, because her trust toward him was destroyed. I'm not sure, but it just really made me think. Also, I felt they did such a good job to show us the ugly side of human beings. Humans do anything to survive or protect their loved ones. Another good job they did was making the noise of clickers. It is so creepy and scary. It just stays in your head, especially at night. Well, this is what I thought about this game. What did you think?
So for me, the first thing that really stuck out was the effort that went into creating this fictional Earth, United States. And I don't mean the graphics. I mean, the game is beautiful, lots of great scenery. Well, if you like rundown ghost towns. But what I mean is they created their own soda lines and movies and video games and even a comic. Well, the names and titles to them, because there was no actual comic to read, at least as far as I know. I checked all over the internet but could find no information on a physical or digital copy of the comic. But in the game you could collect them, and when you turned it over, there was a short synopsis on the back of the book. And I thought, how cool would it have been if they released a physical release of the comic book Savage Starlight along with the game, or at least inside the game as the booklet. An old NES game comes to mind, Werewolf: The Last Warrior. A comic accompanied that game as well. I just think it would have been neat if they did the same thing with The Last of Us. At least the first issue. We could have followed along digitally with the rest of the books in the game, or headed to our local comic store to pick up the other issues. And now that I've mentioned this comic book, Savage Starlight, in the game it was also made into a movie. You come across the poster in the game, and it's not the only one. There are other movies in the game too. Blood Samurai and Dawn of the Wolf 2 to list a couple. Seeing these posters made me wish that Naughty Dog would have taken the time to create some short films. And then we'd eventually come across some copies of them on DVD or an old rundown theater that still had electricity somehow. And we could still watch these movies and enjoy them with a couple of sodas they have in game. But now imagine this. What if we could have bought physical versions of the game soda and drank it while we played the game as well? It could have been some generic soda or some brand name like Coke or Pepsi just relabeled with the in-game labels. And this is what led me to the thought of how we can save the physical game industry. Well, that and a negative experience I had at GameStop. I'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, I know that they do this already in a way with limited edition bundles, but basically I think all physical releases should be limited edition bundles to some degree, maybe not completely. But using Last of Us as an example, it would come with a 6-pack of the soda of your choice, a DVD of the short film of your choice, and a copy of the first issue of Savage Starlight. Now I know, like I mentioned, they kind of already do this with limited editions. But the thing here is escapism. We're escaping to different worlds when we play video games. And I think having something tangible from these fake worlds really builds on the feeling like we've been to another world. Another example I could use that's very familiar to me would be Monster Hunter. Instead of the game coming in a plastic case, it would have come with a leather-bound book that actually had all the monster field guides and other tips and tricks that a monster hunter would need. Or maybe you could get a power or armor charm. But I don't want the dunk pod though. Anyway, it's not that I desperately want to save the physical game industry. As I mentioned, I had a negative experience at GameStop. They can go to hell, right? Well, it wasn't that kind of negative experience where I had to become a Karen and ask to speak to your manager or something like that. What is the male version of Karen anyway? Anyway, I honestly believe that there's still space for both physical and digital. And the customer service there really wasn't all that bad. They greeted me and asked me if I needed help finding anything. And what I was looking for was a copy of Last of Us 2 used. I wanted to see if they had it cheaper than the PlayStation Store sale right now at the low price of $29.99. The guy there was quite knowledgeable and knew right away they had nothing, used or new, right off the top of his head. So I walked out of there empty-handed. No inquiry if I was interested in buying anything similar, or if I wanted to order it, or if I wanted the latest issue of Savage Starlight, or have I seen Dawn of the Wolf 3, or did I want a 6-pack of Special Cola? And of course, there were none of these there. So this is where I think the physical game industry could have a lot more going for it. But perhaps I am wrong. I am just an old guy from an old time that used to enjoy spending hours at Tower Records and Suncoast, and I deeply missed that. And I just can't help thinking that there's an opportunity to expand on our escaping, to take physical games to the next level. I mean, I'm pretty sure there will always be physical games because used games are a thing. But I just don't want to settle for that. Maybe they could do something like how Wizard of the Coast does Secret Layers for Magic the Gathering, where you have the option to purchase these cool limited prints for a limited time. Or like how they do those limited t-shirt print runs. I got a really cool one of those ones. Anyway, I can really carry on about this. There was just so much in The Last of Us I wanted to experience that we'll never get to. Like I really wanted to play at least one level of The Turning with Rika. It looked like it would have been a side-scrolling beat-em-up like Final Fight. Or what is Damocles Rising? Anyway, I think I've made my point here. There's more that can be done to draw us into these fictional worlds than just a disc in a plastic case. And I hope that's something the game industry will try for in the future. And speaking of the future, I haven't played The Last of Us 2 yet, but one other thing I thought about The Last of Us that I hope they implement in future games is it would have been nice if it was 2-player. I would have really enjoyed working together with Rika on this than just having her sit there and watch me. There are a lot of moments in the game where Ellie and Joel have to work together to get through certain areas, and that would have been really fun to work that together with Rika. And finally, 2 things I really liked about this game, and these are very little spoilers. The sniper scene where you had to snipe a horde of rushing zombies, that really got my adrenaline pumping. The other is how they made the audio come through the controller when you had to pick up a recorder.
Lost 2 more guards to infected attacks. They're about to go have another goddamn meeting about the safety of this lab. All of our equipment is here. All of our data is here. All the personnel have gotten used to living here. I'm gonna run another test. Otherwise, this incompetence will drive me insane.
I really felt like I had actually picked that thing up. Last of Us did an amazing job pulling me into their fictional world, and I look forward to playing The Last of Us 2. But until then, I'll most likely be making videos about Monster Hunter. So as always, thanks for watching, and for those of you that have subscribed, thanks for subscribing.
Actually, Rodney has started playing The Last of Us 2, and I have to say, I'm very, very, very disappointed in the beginning of this season. I watched only few episodes. It annoys me so much in many ways. I've been asking questions like, did it have to be that way? Or where's justice? I know I have to watch till the end and judge whether it was good or not. But at the moment, what I want from this is there must be revenge. There has to be revenge. Otherwise, I will go crazy and will hate human beings even more. So please, please don't disappoint me, The Last of Us 2.